Oh, that's roach damage. I've seen that before. Yes, indeedy, that's roach damage.
No, I don't. Unfortunately,
anything. The fridge. How about the games that you say were ruined? How about a picture of the games? Because you could do that with the naked eye. Right. Nothing. Because, you know why? Because the roaches may have been gross, but they were good enough for you to still cling on to the place and only to sue when you thought it would give you leverage.
That's not true.
My verdict is for the defendants.
Thank you, sir.
Well, here he comes, a plaintiff out here with nothing. Come on in here, except pictures of whatever that was. What's your feeling here?
Listen, I didn't have no proof. Okay, unfortunately, I accept the judge's decision, but as I know one thing, this man is a slumlord. That's what we have in New York City, slumlords like him. And I hope to God people, if they see him, don't rent from him.
Why'd you live there for that long under those conditions?
Well, I'm on disability, okay? I don't have that kind of the means or anything to just.
You couldn't find anywhere else. You willing to endure those conditions?
No, I'm not. I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be leaving very soon. Even if I have to go into a men's shelter, I'm going to be leaving just to get away from it. This wasn't about the money and everything. It's I had property. It was damaged in this place. Even the courts ordered him to exterminate the place.
All right. Well, good luck with your next place. All right. So step on in here. What do you make of his case here? Come on.
I'm very proud that the judge will make a very good decision on my behalf. And I hope that other landlords take this into consideration with tenants before screening them properly before you take them in.
All right, he couldn't prove anything in there, so he lost. But is there a roach problem there? You got roaches?
No, we have the...
no roaches, no roaches?
No roach,
Not one roach in the whole place?
Nothing. We got it sprayed because it was an order from the judge in Queens to get it looked after. It's okay. Everything is good. I have other tenants living there. No complaint for years.
All right, what do you think, Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, how to say the plaintiff's case stinks. It is not coincidental. I mean, the timing of this case and the roach claim, absolutely relevant, something the judge could consider, and probably the turning point in the case. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Vincent Peter Mills. He says he bought a car from the defendant, got it insured, and when he went to the DMV to register it, they confiscated the title. They told him the title was tampered with. It was now void, and they advised him to return the car and get his money back. He had to jump through hoops to get a clean title on the car. It cost him an extra $1,508.46, and that's just what he's suing for today. This is the defendant, Eric Dimitro. He says he did nothing wrong. It was the plaintiff who fouled things up with the DMV. The guy never filled out the title reassignment paper, and all the problems he had with the DMV were his fault. He tried to help the plaintiff out, but once he called the cops on him, that was the last straw. He's accused of getting touchy over a title.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
You went to the DMV, what happened?
I went to the DMV. They told me I couldn't register the car. And on further inspection, they looked at the title and they saw that it had been tampered with. They confiscated the title.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff bought a car from the defendant, and the title was wonky. The defendant says the plaintiff messed up the title with the DMV. It's the case of I'm entitled to title.
Vincent Peter Mills, you are suing Eric Dimitro for $1,508.46 in money that you had to expend to get a car he sold you registered. Tell me what happened.
Okay, on November 4th, I met with Mr. Dimitro to take a look at his car. It was a 2002 Nissan Altima. And I had a friend with me at the time, a mechanic, who was to check out the car with me. So we liked the car, seemed it was okay. And at that time, he also gave me a title.
Somebody who brings a mechanic, and then he doesn't have a mechanical problem with suing for it. That's why. Okay, so go ahead.
So at that time, paid him $2,800 for the car, and he gave me a title, a reassignment from Delaware, and a bill of sale.
Okay, what is that?
It's something that I got from the person that I bought it from. Because
who did you buy it from?
I bought it from a person on Craigslist, and I re-advertised it back on Craigslist.
I'm trying to understand what you do. Is this your business that you buy low, sell high? What?
No, it was actually a car flip. I know a lot about cars, and I bought it at a good price, and I sold it at a good price.
Did you drive it or do anything to it in between?
No.
Okay, and So it was never registered in your name?
No.
All right, and then the paperwork you received from the seller in Delaware was what? Do you have a photocopy of it so I can see it?
No, but I believe he should have that.
Do you have a photocopy of the paper? I guarantee to you he doesn't. I guarantee to you that he used it and that was that because nobody thinks that. Do you have one?
I have the Delaware reassignment he gave me. I have a copy of the title.
Wow. Look at that.
Hold on, let me hold on to that
Give her
feeling.
a second. Quiet.
Hold on. Wow. Hand it over.
I actually have the original. That's all of it.
Okay, so this is what he handed you.
Yes.
This is actually what he handed you?
That's actually the Delaware reassignment. There's a copy of the title because the DMV confiscated the original title.
Okay. So area of erasure, you put here a little sticky. What was that?
Because on the copy it's not really clear. The last number of the mileage.
All right. Now, Delaware dealer's reassignment. Was this blank when you got it?
I did not fill out the year, make, and model. I just filled out the total price, the year under the Delaware dealer assignment 1. I filled that out and my name and address. At the top line, that was already there.
Okay. Who filled out the odometer reading
It wasn't me.
on the dealer reassignment? Kind of looks like your handwriting, though.
It was me. I'm sorry.
It was you. Okay.
It was me.
So the title says mileage. Who's Richardson Imports? Is that you? Well, how many different people are involved in this? This says printed name of dealer, Progressive GM, but the title says owner Richardson Imports. Who's Richardson Imports?
Like I explained to the gentleman, the day I bought it, I did not look into the paperwork either. So
Yeah, but
I didn't.
You have an obligation when you sell a car to give good title. That's the only thing you got to do. Everything else, it's buyer beware. But the one thing you've got to do is give good title.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but everything was open. Everything was clear. All the
No, it's not
section.
open. This is this pre-printed stuff I'm looking at.
Oh, okay.
The title says owner Richardson Imports. The Delaware reassignment dealer's reassignment says printed name of dealer Progressive GM.
It should be somewhere.
So
in
it's
the back.
like jump title. So they didn't have title. You don't have title. But I mean, I don't know how you expect him to register. What ended up happening? You went to the DMV. What happened?
I went to the DMV. They told me I couldn't register the car. And on further inspection, they looked at the title and they saw that it had been tampered with. They confiscated the title.
Because the title says that the mileage is 20,000. What kind of car is this?
A Nissan Altima.
2002. And it says that the mileage is 20,000 miles on a 2002 on a 10-year-old car?
I think that's why they snatched it.
Well,
Yeah, and then, but this document, the dealer reassignment, says it's 122,000, which would mean that the eraser's in the wrong place. The erasure probably happened in the front. But this problem caused him certain expenses. According to you, those expenses are what?
Those
The
expenses
250
are-
paid to the mechanic. Why would he ever, under any circumstances, have to pay for that when that's something you did in order to buy the car? And it turns out the car's mechanically sound anyway, which still wouldn't be his problem because it's an as-is sale. But why would he have to pay you $250 for the mechanic?
Well, having to flip through so many hoops, I was so angry with him that the mechanic helped communicate with him because I didn't get anywhere.
The answer to that one's no. All right,
Okay.
and then the next expense is amount owed for car insurance from November to December because according to, you finally ended up being able to title the car, right?
Yes.
How did you end up titling the car?
I spoke with the dealer in Delaware, and we spoke over the course of a week or two. He said he was going to get the title. I had to put pressure on him with the Delaware DMV and tell him if he doesn't help me, he's going to be complaints issued and it'd be difficult for him to get his cars registered. And back and forth with him, he put me in touch with a third person who finally, I had to go back out to Brooklyn, finally came with a Florida reassignment, another Delaware reassignment.
You mean a prior owner?
I really didn't understand it, but I guess so. I didn't. So that's how it went. We finally got the car registered after all that time and having to go through so many hoops.
So you finally got it registered when? In December?
December 28th, I believe, delivered it.
Okay, so you're asking for your car insurance for the month you weren't able to drive the car because you couldn't register it. You're asking for parking. Can I see proof of the car insurance? All right, and your parking garage charges because you couldn't leave the car out on the street because it wasn't registered. Okay,
Right.
So prove to me your parking garage charges. That's kind of weird. These are kind of the receipt books that you can get at And I'm not used to seeing it
I
like
didn't
this.
park
It's
it in the
kind of
garage. I
Walgreens
rented it
receipt
from.
books, you know? What?
I rented it from a friend.
From a friend. Okay. Car rental, gas tolls, and buses. Do you have proof of that?
Yes.
Why would somebody pay for your gas? What are you putting gas in? You can't drive this car.
Oh, I had to rent the car
Oh, I see.
for the rental.
But wouldn't you pay gas? I mean, gas is something that you would be paying whether the car worked or didn't work. It's not something you were forced to expend extra. Assuming that you're reimbursed for the car rental, gas was always going to be on you. It was never going to be free. It's not free for the rest of us. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
In other words, the rental makes you whole. All right. And how are you proving the amount of your lost wages?
I have my the form I have to submit to take the time.
So let me see it. And why lost wages? If you rented a car, you were able to get to work. So why would you be suing for lost wages?
No, I took the bus to work. I had to take days off. It's a long
to deal
story.
with
I
it,
had
you
to
mean?
go to.
Because in order to deal with
consulted a
everything
lawyer.
you're saying.
They told me to file a civil suit, and where I live, I went to the New Jersey courts. I took the buses there. They told me I couldn't because the incident occurred in Brooklyn. So they say go to New York. So I went to the Bronx court. They told me, well, if you file it here, it'll probably take a long time because we'll end up sending it to Brooklyn. So then I went to the Brooklyn court. And I went through lots of hoops to try to make this thing happen. Yeah.
I know. So what say you to all that?
It's a lot to swallow.
It is a lot to swallow. It's a real pain. Is this how you do business all the time?
No,
Okay.
it didn't occur that way.
It didn't occur that way. Tell me how it occurred.
Okay. The day he went to register the car at DMV, okay, and I have to speak the truth, he's a gentleman. He called me as a gentleman. He never argued with me or anything. Okay, the day he went to register the car at DMV, he never filled out the reassignment, which I sold the car, flipped
How do
it,
you know that?
because I asked him that.
But that's the paper.
They said he never filled out the reassignment.
Who's they?
DMV.
How would you get a person in DMV to tell you about a transaction that they had with one person out of 200?
No, he was telling me because there was a he didn't know where to sign his name on the reassignment. He didn't know where to sign his information on the reassignment. When he asked me this, he was at DMV. So he kept on going to DMV. They kept on giving him a problem because he wasn't signing the right information in the reassignment.
Wait, stop. You can't just say what you want to say. You have to prove to me that you know what you're talking about. Okay. How do you know what his problem with DMV was? Because he called you and said what?
He doesn't know where to fill out his information.
What difference does that make? If there's a reassignment, in other words, was he supposed to have filled that out before? What difference does it make if you fill it out at the counter?
He was supposed to fill it out before he went to DMV.
But why? Because we're trying to fool DMV into thinking what?
Because the state, the law, when you buy a car with a reassignment, they thinking you bought it from a dealer to DMV. So you're supposed to sign all information. Any real dealership.
But why can't you sign it at the counter? Why would that be a problem at DMV?
Don't know.
I'm not following. Unless we're trying to fool DMV into thinking somebody else signed it.
Maybe you could go that way.
Oh no, but then you got to explain to me because then I have to understand. So you sold him a car with the understanding that the reassignment's supposed to be filled out by whom? I guess that's what I'm asking.
The buyer. The minute
he is the buyer. So what difference does it make that he didn't sign it until he got to the counter?
He went blank to a DMV without signing it. That's why.
I think you're making it up as you go along.
No, you can even ask him.
Yeah, because you're not the guy at the counter. This is the guy who's at the counter.
This is what he explained to me.
What about the fact that there's like 100,000 mile difference on the odometer and that somebody's messing with the odometer? What about that?
It's the craziest title since 50 Shades. Will he get $1,508? There's Million Rules next.
He was supposed to create a logo.
A design disaster.
So this is supposed to say relaxing at the beach.
Why would a title weight be relaxing for me? It's gonna like make me super, super tense.
Next.
So if the title isn't clear, can the buyer undo the deal?
They should definitely be able to have that chance to undo the deal because that's just wonky, you know?
Except it's a private sale. You could say, well, it's as is, tough luck, you take your chances. Is title different?
I think the title is as important as the car itself. Without proof of ownership, and you're basically left with not being able to register it or do anything else with it.
I'm going to leave it at that because I think you nailed it. Going inside the courtroom.
What about the fact that the title has one owner, Richardson Imports, and that the assignment has a dealer named Progressive? Those are two different entities. What about that? You think maybe that had something to do with the problem at the counter?
Possible.
Oh, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If he registered the car, got back the title in his name, what am I doing here?
You cost him a bunch of time and trouble, and he wants you to pay because you have an obligation. You have one thing you got to do when you sell a used car, okay? You can't lie about it. You can't give a warranty you don't honor. Three things. You can't give a warranty you don't honor, and you got to give good title. The only responsibility you have is to give good title that he can walk over to the DMV and file. What ended up happening instead is that you gave him a title that stuff wasn't done properly on throughout the many people who owned it. It had, the title had one mileage, the reassignment had another mileage. The title had one name, the reassignment had another name. So you cost him Herculean efforts, time, trouble, and money, and he wants you to pay it. Do you understand it now? Because I'm going to make you pay it. All right. Based on the evidence that you presented, I find as follows. You're not entitled to the mechanic charge. You would have spent that anyway. You are entitled to the car insurance charges that you were able to prove. You're not entitled to the parking garage charges because I just don't find that you've presented sufficient proof that you actually paid that. You are entitled to the car rental. Gas is something you would have spent anyway. Tolls is something you did not provide me with proof of, right?
Right.
Okay, and you would have spent for tolls anyway. And you are entitled to what you have been able to prove in terms of your bus fares. And I'm going to find that you're entitled to your lost wages because you can't just do what you want and, you know, kind of not follow the rules and then cost somebody this kind of grief and aggravation and not pay. So I find in your favor in the amount of $908.36, and I'm ordering the defendant to pay you that sum. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, here comes the defendant out of the courtroom. Step right over here. What's your take on the outcome of this case?
To be honest with you, he wanted to, sue me for all that he's got. He had a problem with the title. He got the title. He got the car registered. I mean, what more do you want? You want to charge me for car washes too? Come on, it's out of hand.
Well, it's the fact that he had to go through a lot of trouble to get those things done.
But I mean, it must have really been a great deal if he suffered that hard because he's keeping the car. So I guess he wants his cake and he wants to eat it too, Well,
what did you learn here?
What did I learn?
You don't want to be back in court again, I don't think, right?
No, just got to watch who you deal with.
So you think it was the individual, nothing you did?
Not that it was my fault.
Okay.
'Cause on both sides, you have to watch what you deal with. The person I got it from, the person I sold it to. Okay. So obviously it was the same thing. Nah, so.
All right. Okay, sir. You satisfied?
Yes, I am.
You didn't get everything you sued for.
But you know what? The guy talks smooth, but he's doing shiesty dealings. So, you know what? I'm glad it turned out in my favor.
You picked him.
No comment.
What did you learn?
What did I learn? Sometimes you should just settle things in court.
All right, Harvey.
Okay, the key to this case is very simple. You cannot sell a car unless you have clear title. If the title isn't clear, in good standing, if you will, then you know what? The person who buys it from you can undo that deal. Now we'll do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Basha Shoklar. She says she purchased a 7-day trip to Europe from the defendant's travel agency, and she purchased insurance. Wouldn't you know it, she got very sick in Switzerland on the first day of the trip, had to fly back to New York, and now the insurance she purchased from the defendant won't reimburse her. She's suing for $3,500, the cost of her wasted trip. This is the defendant, Tatiana. She says the woman came into her store after returning from Switzerland and said rather shockingly, "Why didn't you tell me it was cold and snowing in Switzerland?" How can she promise customers what the weather's going to be like? She doesn't know. No one does. She told the plaintiff to submit the proper paperwork to the insurance company. She failed to give them a doctor's note, and they denied her claim. Well, she's sorry, but she just sells the insurance. She's accused of a snow job.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
And you came back to America when?
27.
27?
Yes.
Why did you wait from May 27th until June 4th, 3 days after you were scheduled to come back, to go to a doctor?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff bought a 7-day European package from the defendant's travel agency, got insurance, but then got sick and had to cut the trip short in Switzerland. But the defendant says The plaintiff didn't submit a doctor's note. That's why the insurance didn't pay. It's the case of the Swiss Miss.
Douglas. Okay, Ms. Scolia, you are suing the travel agency represented here by Tatiana. You are the manager and you have power of attorney by the owner to represent, right?
Yes.
Okay. For $3,500, the amount of money that you spent on a trip because you purchased trip insurance and you believe that your claim should have been paid. Okay. Tell me what's going on.
Middle of May, my children decided bring me gift and send me on the trip, interesting trip.
Where was the trip to?
Switzerland.
Switzerland?
Yes.
Okay.
And I bought insurance together.
Trip insurance. Okay. Do you have the paperwork from your trip insurance?
Yes.
May I see it? So go on. So who's the gentleman with you?
My husband.
Your husband. Did he go with you on the trip?
No.
No.
I'm alone because he's working. I'm now I'm lost my voice. I'm sick a little bit, and he have to help me if I cannot tell.
No, I'm wondering why you didn't take him to Switzerland. I'm not wondering why you did take him to court. I'm wondering why you didn't take him to Switzerland.
No, I'm sorry. He was working.
He was working. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so go with him. All right, and so you go to Switzerland, and what happens?
I came. It's Switzerland. I feel it's good, and we go to trip in Zurich, okay? And after first day, next day was Sunday, because I came to Zurich Saturday, and on Sunday, I feel no good. It's bad.
What did you felt no good? You got sick?
Yes.
What was wrong with you?
I have a pain in my stomach, and I have a cough and nausea, and more problem.
Did you go to a doctor
I have to go to doctor, but I cannot go because it was Sunday, number one. Number two, I have to go to the hospital, but I have not money. I have not money because immediately I have to pay $300 on doctor and maybe $200 for X-ray on my body.
How do you know?
But I have not money.
Do you have insurance, health insurance?
Yes, I have.
Why wouldn't your health insurance cover you?
Health insurance want to cover me more later, but I have to pay immediately.
Okay. All right. So what did you do instead? You came back to America?
Yes, I decided to come back to America.
All right. Did you see a doctor when you got back to America?
Yes.
And do you have any paperwork from that doctor?
Yes, I have, but my visit to doctor. I am going to doctor.
Okay, I have a question for you. When did you see the doctor when you came to America?
After one.
When did you see the doctor? What date did you see the doctor?
What date? June 4.
May I see
June 4.
Her trip was supposed to be from when to when?
Her trip was supposed to be May 24 till June 1.
And you came back to America when?
27.
27?
Yes.
Why did you wait from May 27 until June 4th, 3 days after you were scheduled to come back, to go to a doctor?
Yes. I feel no good. I feel bad. I cannot go to doctor, and my doctor cannot.
When people feel bad, they go to the hospital, they go to the doctor. That's what they do. And the problem that you have is that you have insurance where you got to prove that you didn't just change your mind, not like the people you were there with, or as you think. What is it you think might have happened when she got to Switzerland? That she thought it was too cold?
That's what she said when she came to our office after she came back from the trip.
What did she say to you? Did she tell you she was sick?
Yeah, she said she got sick there, and the weather was too cold, and she had to come back due to her medical reason.
Okay. You're the travel agency.
Yes.
Tell me about the insurance.
Okay, as a travel agency, we provided for our client land portion of her trip. Air ticket was bought in a different place.
A different agency?
The different agency.
Okay, hold on.
This agency, she worked for her airline ticket, sent her to us to buy the land portion because we are wholesalers.
Okay.
We work with all Russian-speaking agencies all around America.
Okay.
And agencies send us clients for the land portion of the trip.
Okay.
So in this case, the ticket was sold by the travel agent.
I heard that. Okay, and so how about the insurance?
And also we provided insurance for the total trip.
Okay, and who is the insurer? Is it a third-party insurer?
Third-party, reliable company.
What is the name of the company?
Travel Guard.
So she bought the insurance. This is the policy that you handed me. It says Travel Guard. Did you make a claim against Travel Guard, your insurance company?
I send my
and they rejected the claim because you didn't have a doctor's note until 8 days later.
8 days she's weak. Will the plaintiff get $3,500? With Million Rules next.
For free tickets to be part of our courtroom audience, call 1-888-780-8587.
Okay, I'm assuming everybody here has gone on a trip at one time or another and put good, important stuff in a suitcase, or have to cut the trip short. Have you ever bought travel insurance?
No, I haven't. My stuff isn't that valuable anyway, so I can always...
Yeah, but what if you have to cut the trip short because you're sick? You can get insurance for that. Insurance money.
You could, but generally pretty healthy, so I take my chances.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a travel agent.
Wow. You're kidding me, right?
No. No, and often credit card companies provide insurance, travel insurance as well, so it's often not necessary to buy extra.
Wow. Going inside the courtroom.
Here's the thing. You bought certain insurance, and the insurance has certain rules. And one of the rules is they want a doctor's note when you say that you're sick.
Yes.
Because otherwise people would just make it up, change their mind, go home, and then want the travel insurance to kick in for illness. So they have to have proof that you're ill. So, but that's the insurance policy you bought. I didn't buy that insurance policy. He didn't buy that insurance. She didn't buy that insurance. You bought that insurance policy, and that's your insured. Why the Travel Guard are the people that you should sue if you think you can win. I think you have a very difficult case no matter what, because you didn't go to a doctor like you're supposed to according to your insurance policy. So if you're going to tell them, oh, I didn't get around to it until 8 days later, and then you go see a doctor who says, patient says she had intestinal problems 8 days ago. You know, because that's what your doctor's note says. He's trying to help you, but, he can't lie for you. So you have a problem, but that's between you and Travel Guard, not between you and the travel agency. So my verdict in this case is for the travel agency. Good luck.
Well, here's the plaintiff coming out in the hallway on the losing end of this case here. Step right in here.
Yeah.
You understand the judge's ruling?
Yes, I understand, but this insurance company stay in other state. I cannot go to court. Sent to court in another state.
You can't
From
sue
New
them
York.
because they're in another state?
In other state, yes, of course.
There
I sent
might be a way.
document.
Look into it. There might be a way. All right, head right around the corner here. Good luck. That's what you have to do. So head right around. Sorry. All right, so come on in here. What do you think of this outcome? You're smiling. I don't know why.
Because we won, and I think this is the right way to be. We are travel agents, and we are not responsible for the travel insurance, whichever decision they give to the client.
Okay, over to Harvey then.
Okay, Kurt, it is so important, especially something like this where you buy insurance, and you have to know exactly what you need to do in order to collect money. Even if you think the requirement doesn't make sense or is a waste of time, it doesn't matter. You have to comply with it, or else it is a basis for denying your claim. No matter how stupid you think it is, it doesn't matter. What you want is your money, and you have to follow every single requirement.
Don't text and drive.
Yeah, don't cost a thing. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm sorry. You guys know Danny from the record company.
Hey guys. So Jim, we have some great treatments for your next music video.
Okay.
Remember, this is your 10th album.
Wow.
Video.
Yay!
We're really excited.
Exciting.
And keep in mind, we got to get this first video right.
Yes.
First single, I Love You Poppy. It's so warm.
There's a text by you to them talking about how you're going to mess them up with future tenants. Tell me about that.
I didn't write any text. I didn't write any text.
Who wrote it?
I wrote that text.
You wrote it, but you... Did you write it from you or from him?
These are the plaintiffs, Tariq Simon and Rebecca Blazkowicz. Tariq says he and his girlfriend rented an apartment from the defendant, who promised to clean the place and make repairs before they moved in, and she most definitely did not. The place was a bloomin', bug-infested mess. The defendant refuses to discuss the matter and has also ignored the requests for a refund. They have no choice but to sue for treble damages in the amount of $2,700. This is the defendant, Nicole. She says she really worked with the plaintiffs and tried to accommodate their every request and spent a ton of time cleaning the apartment before the move-in date. Then, out of the clear blue sky, they sent her a text stating they weren't moving in and they wanted their deposit back. When she refused, the plaintiffs threatened to blackmail her. This has caused her so much stress, and there's no way she's refunding a penny of their money. She's accused of not cleaning it right. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,950 for legal fees and early termination charges.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Tariq Simon and Rebecca Blazkowicz?
Yes.
Okay, you are suing Nicole. You've asked me to refer to only by your first name for $2,700 of a security deposit and rental fees in a place you never ended up moving into. You have a counterclaim against him for $2,950 for early termination charges and the balance of rent, because according to you, they should have moved in. All right, what's going on?
All right. Basically, what had happened was we found the apartment on Craigslist. We went in to look at it, and when we went to look at it, at first glance, we liked what we saw. We heard that there were a couple of other people that were interested in the apartment.
So you had to lay down your money right that second.
We didn't lay it down
Because you got to
right
have what
that
somebody else
second.
wants.
We
right?
didn't lay it down right that second, but like what we did was we told them that we were interested in it if they could like hold it for a little bit. And then when I got my paycheck the next week, we had went back and I had paid them $500 to hold it. They had asked for $625 in total to hold it. So we had given them $900 total, because when she had got paid, she gave them an additional $400 for the rest of the $625 that they had requested for, and about $225 toward first month's rent. And when we got into the apartment after looking at it for a while, we went in there the third week of December, and we noticed that there were bugs all over the floor. It was like disgusting and dirty. And
Live bugs or dead bugs?
Dead bugs. And they had claimed that they had cleaned the whole apartment spick and span up and down.
But you weren't moving in the third week of December?
We weren't moving in.
Right.
We
you
just
weren't
went to
moving in
look
for
at
another
it.
2 weeks or a week and a half?
Correct.
Yeah, we just went to like look at it and see like what was going on, what progress has been done.
Okay. So you're looking at it and you say, hey, this place is still dirty.
Yeah. And we addressed it
and
to
they
them.
say, well, we'll clean it before you move in.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So get to
And
the part that you are trying to move in and something's wrong.
we are trying to move in, and
when? January?
It was about
January.
the 30th of December, Your
Yeah.
Honor, and we went in there, and I started doing cleaning. We were moving in our kitchenware, and we were looking around, and then as I'm cleaning the bathroom, I noticed behind the shower head.
The police were standing there when you kicked the door in?
The first door was kicked in because as he was throwing my things out the back door, I went out there to retrieve them before the police got there.
This is the plaintiff, Anthony Jenkins. He says the defendant, his former girlfriend, who has a very volatile temper, kicked in 2 doors of his house, stole his glasses and a phone charger, and he's here to show her you can't just act like a crazy person and get away with it. That's why he's taking her to court and suing her for the $1,282.84 he's rightfully owed. This is the defendant, Trina Grimes. She says the plaintiff locked her out of the house in her pajamas. All her belongings were in the house, and a huge argument ensued. The cops were called. They told her, go into the house through a basement door, and that's just what she did. The plaintiff is the hothead who needs to be taught a lesson here today, and she hopes the judge is just the person to do it. She's accused of losing it. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $4,540 for lost wages and belongings the plaintiff is holding hostage.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Anthony Jenkins, you are suing Trina Grimes,
Yes.
your former girlfriend, for $1,282.84 for repairs to items that she destroyed when she was living with you and some items that you say she took from you. You have a counterclaim for $4,540 for lost wages because, according to you, he got you fired out of spite. Tell me what happened.
Saturday, September the 29th, Miss Grimes woke up early in the morning, and so I'm trying to talk to her. Miss Grimes became belligerent, yelling, cursing at me.
What were you guys fighting about?
She got a phone call from one of her friends 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. And I said, why is someone calling your phone at 6 on a Saturday morning? You do not have to work. Okay, then she just started swearing and cursing at me. Okay. And that led to that. So, and I said, well, if you're going to start all that, I said, well, you can leave my house.
Was she living with you?
No. She spent nights with me, but didn't stay with me, no.
How long had you been dating?
Over 7 years.
Okay.
I tried to get her to move in.
Okay.
But some of her problems, she never want to move in. But anyway, so the argument led, started cursing and stuff like that. And I asked her, I said, well, you can leave. So she put on the clothes and walked towards the back door. So I let her the back door. When I let her the back door, she went out. I locked it. So at this time, she's on the other side of the door. I guess realized, well, this man is for real. So she started banging on my door, talking about, this is a process. You just can't put me out your house like this and all this stuff like that. I said, well, I'm on the other side of the door. She just banging and stuff like that. So then I kept telling her, I'm going to call the police. And she kept yelling, screaming, all this stuff like that. So time passed by. She finally makes her way into the house.
How?
Kicks it in, door in.
Kicks the door in?
Yes.
Okay.
She kicks the door in. So when she gets in the house, she said, well, if I can't stay here, can't nobody stay here. So then she like grabbed on me, and during the process of grabbing me, I got a little scratch on my chest, but it was neither here nor there. So, like I said, then she went to my table in my dining room, started grabbing stuff off the table, phone charger.
You saw her take your phone charger?
Yes.
Why didn't you take it right up back?
Because that's why I didn't want to touch her. I called 911.
You have a very different story, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So according to you, she goes in there and she grabs the charger and what else?
My glasses. And it was,
right in front of you. She grabs your glasses and she grabs your charger.
She know that stuff I basically use every day.
Yeah,
she even
the
grabbed
two things I'd be lost without.
Yes, she grabbed stuff like that. Then I walked outside waiting on the police to come. Okay, so by the time the police got there, they said, what happened?
Is she still there at that time?
She's in the house still, yeah, because I was knocking my neighbors upstairs. Said, y'all need to leave out this house. This girl downstairs gonna turn all the gas on in the house.
Turn the gas on?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Because she said if she did that, it said she can't stay there, nobody can stay there.
Did your neighbors leave?
They came downstairs.
And did what? Watched?
No, they stood on the porch, got out from out the apartment.
You have a video of this, you said?
I have a video of her tearing my door up.
Can I see that?
Yes, you definitely can.
lie.
You definitely can. You got to listen
According to you, what happens?
Mix this all the way up.
My argument did start that morning because of a phone call from a female friend at 6 in the morning. And in the process of that, he said, get out. But I was still in my night clothes, so he was trying to put me out in my night clothes. I said, no, I need to put on clothes. So I went into the other room where my belongings was and started to put on clothes. He came in behind me. We started arguing. There was a little shuffle here, shuffle there.
What's shuffle?
Like he hit me. I stood up, hit him back, and a couple grabbing, and he got a scratch right here. By this time, I had already had my pants on, just a pants and a tank top. Then as I get up after the scuffle, he's taking my belongings out of the second room where my belongings are stored at and throwing them out the back door. So I goes out the back door to try to pick up the things that's rolling around on the floor. In that process, he locks me out. So I'm bamming on the door. He's not letting me in. So I started to kick the door. And I gets the door open and I get in.
So you did kick the door?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Once I kicked the door in, I realized I don't have my cell phone. So I'm like, call the police, call the police. I kicked the door in, called the police. Still didn't get him to call the police. He had my cell phone. He took my cell phone from me. So to get him to call the police, I turned the gas on the stove on. And that worked.
Do you live like this all the time?
No. But it worked. He called the police, and as soon as I could hear the police on the other end, which was very fast, I turned the gas off. The police officer comes and sees the situation, realizes that I'm not trying to commit suicide or harm anybody else. Assess the situation, ask what do I want to do with the situation. I just want to get my things and I want to go. The meantime, he's wrenching and he's raving. He's complaining about the little baby scratch on his chest. And I told the officer, it's possible that he could have got scratched. When I was in a sitting position trying to place my clothes on, he hit me. I jumped up and I hit him back. When you jump up and you hit somebody, you kind of grab, It could have been possible, but I don't have fingernails. So, I don't know. Maybe he got really soft baby skin. So, I admitted to that. And the officer just said she want to get her things out. Let her get her things out. She's going to leave. You wanted her to go. She's going to leave. Okay. The officer realized I had things in a second room where he was tossing them out the back door from. So the officer like to diffuse the situation. You go get a truck, come back and get your things, just to calm us, from arguing. I said, okay, fine. I walk off and I go to a friend and I find my friend. She has a truck. So she comes and she helped me move my things out.
All right. And so now I'm going to see a video of you ripping up the door.
Yeah.
According to him.
Youngish love. The testimony continues.
Is this the one you kicked in with police watching?
Yes.
How is this funny? I think this is horrifying. You know what the craziest part is of this crazy story? You kind of want her back.
Are you one of the millions of people having trouble paying for your medications?
We hit some financial difficulties and weren't receiving medication anymore. Our lives really changed drastically.
My dad's 98 years old, 18 prescriptions between my father and my mother, and he doesn't know how to pay for them. He was actually thinking about trying to apply for welfare.
You could get your prescriptions free. Over 8 million people do. And you could also receive free dental work and dentures, cell phones with minutes, eye exams, and much more, free.
I meet a lot of elderly people. For many of them, it's a choice of whether to pay for meds or to buy food.
Don't stress any longer. Get the information you need and the help you deserve. Call the free RX Plus hotline now. Your brand name prescriptions could be free, along with so many other medical products, supplies, and free services. You can start saving immediately on thousands of prescription medications. All callers receive our free prescription savings card. Call now.
What Super Polygrip does for me is it keeps the food out. Before, those little pieces would get in between my dentures and my gum, and it was uncomfortable.
Just a few dabs is clinically proven to seal out more food particles.
Super Polygrip is part of my life now.
Okay, listen up. Everywhere in the menu, mayo, corn dogs, you are so out of here.
The complete balanced nutrition of great tasting Ensure. 24 vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, and 9 grams of protein.
Ensure, nutrition in charge.
Rich, chewy caramel, rolled up in smooth milk chocolate.
All aboard.
Rolo, get your smooth honey.
I'm going to a father-daughter dance with my little sister next Friday. So here I am in Burlington. I would like to find something that matches what she's wearing. The price is fantastic, and that's always a plus.
Repair 2 doors. What proof do you have of that?
With the Home
May I see it? Did you repair it?
Not yet, no.
There you go.
Do you have a picture of the door that's there?
Definitely.
Oh my goodness, you made mincemeat out of the doors. Is this the one you kicked in with the police watching?
Yes.
How's this funny? I think this is horrifying. You know what the craziest part is of this crazy story? You kind of want her back.
I do. I got love for her. I'm not going to deny I don't.
No, it's more than that. You want her back.
Because we got a lot of, how can I put it, a lot of time with each other, invested a lot of time with each other. I'm not going to sit and deny that because I try to work with her. I waited 88 days so I wouldn't file the claim, but she made no attempt to try to contact me.
Well, she wouldn't let you have any contact with her. That's when you filed the claim because you wanted to see her.
I can't go there because we're still in the court, so I got to leave that alone.
Say that again?
I can't go there because we got an open court case back in Rochester, so I can't.
What court case do you have?
She filed after.
Restraining orders?
Yes, that.
Do you each have restraining orders?
Yes.
You each have a restraining order against the other one?
I place mine first. He follows suit. So when he do something wrong, he can call and say, I did exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big gain to him.
So you're suing for the door. You're suing for $79 for glasses. You got his glasses?
Yes, I do.
In fact, that's the yellow purse. You brought it to court.
Yes,
okay.
it is.
Do you have his glasses? Give the man back his glasses. When did you take his glasses? Did you take his glasses?
I didn't. You know how you're out with your significant other and they have extra things in their hand because we have the purse.
Oh, yeah, my husband's always doing that. He's constantly dropping his stuff in my bag. Exactly. And they say, where's my blah, blah, blah? I don't know where you put your blah, blah, blah.
That's how I got the
Well, it's in your purse. Can't even know you stuck it in that vast wasteland that is my purse. You find it. Oh, those are his glasses? Give him back his glasses. Well, did you take his charger?
I don't know what he's talking about, a charger, but I get a new phone charger with every new phone I get, and I have a bunch of them.
Okay.
So I brought one just in case he needs
one. There you go. All right, so the last thing we have left to talk about are the doors. And then now let's talk about your counterclaim against him, because according to you, you got fired.
Yes.
All right, why did you get fired? So you called her job and you told them that she steals from her patients.
Yes.
Why did you say that?
Because I know she do.
As I was dancing, ripped a nail off of my big toe completely.
3 days after this happened, she is in Mardi Gras, so I don't see what there's pain and suffering.
Next, People's Court.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, who flies off the handle more in relationships? Chicks or guys?
Chicks.
Why do you say? I think that's debatable, but why?
Yeah. I think it depends on the relationship.
If you had to generalize.
Generally speaking, I'd say chicks.
More emotional?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think?
Females, definitely.
Anybody think males around here? Anybody think males? Nobody thinks males, huh? Really?
As a strong Italian woman, I've got to say females.
Wow, okay. Grand slam, going inside the courtroom.
Anthony caught my job, and I'm in the nursing field. And
what's your job?
I go to the homes.
Oh, you go to people's homes.
And
All
take
right, so
care
they
of them at
place
the
you
home.
in people's homes.
Yes.
All right, go on.
He caught my job and said some things.
What?
I don't really know what.
Well, then how are you going to prove your case?
He told me he would call my job.
What did he tell you?
And he's done it. He'll call my job and get me fired from my job and tell them weird things and get me fired. And he
Did you call her job?
Yes, I did call her job.
And?
I told she take advantage of TBI patients.
Say that again?
She take advantage of TBI patients. Them the brain injury.
TBI?
Type people she work
Traumatic
with.
brain injury. That's what I work with. And
Traumatic
Alzheimer
brain, that
and
she takes
dementia.
advantage of her patients how? What did you say?
Oh boy. That she takes from them.
That she steals?
Yes.
So you called her job and you told them that she steals from her patients?
Yes.
Why did you say that?
Because I know she do.
How do you know she does?
Because she don't try to bring stuff to my house.
Because she what?
Brought stuff to my house.
What stuff did she bring to your house?
Little petty stuff.
Like what?
One day she stuck some boxes from some boxes from one of her clients named Scott and brought to my house.
Boxers?
Boxers, underwears.
Underwear, boxers.
Yes. She would take like little petty stuff, like little forks. That's not an innocent face there, man. Don't let it fool you.
So, but it was good enough for you, and you want that face back. But you went to her job once she dumped you and wouldn't take your calls, and told them that she was stealing things from the clients.
It wasn't a case about she dumped me. The case, she kept running down the police station lying on me.
Did you steal anything from clients' houses?
No.
He says you would come back with boxers and forks and strange little things.
I'm a female.
One time she done took money. One time she done took money from one of her clients.
What ended up happening? You got laid off. You got terminated. Did they tell you that it was because of that phone call? Because I see some letters from your employer where they know that he was just totally harassing you.
Right.
And they mentioned that he wouldn't stop calling there, that he kept showing up there. So why would they take his word for such a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know whether it's true or not. If it's true, you deserve to be fired, and he's just the messenger. If it's not true, then he should have to pay you for losing your job.
I work 2 jobs, full-time and a part-time job. What do I need to steal boxers and forks for? Now, this man here is unemployed.
I don't know. I mean, some people do it for the thrill, not for the payment. So what did they tell you when they fired you?
Well, the first call came on October the 8th. I got a phone call. She said, we got a phone call, and it stated some things that violated the HIPAA law.
Because you're not, okay, so that's why you got fired. You're violating HIPAA. You can't do that. You're giving him information about some of your patients, which you can't say.
No, that's not true.
So the only communication they had with you was not, we heard you steal from clients. The only communication was, why does this guy know the name of your clients? You shouldn't be talking about your clients at home. On your lawsuit against her, I'm going to rule in your favor because she very gleefully broke both doors, and you can't just do that. But not in the amount that you're asking. I'm going to order her to pay you.
He had an option to open the door. He didn't let me back in.
No, I understand, but that doesn't give you the right to break down a door. You are not the wolf, and he is not one of the 3 little pigs. Okay, you have to go in there lawfully. You come with the police. You knock on the door. I'm stunned, and I believe you that the police officers thought it would be amusing to watch you freak out and break a door. I find that to be unconscionable. I can't believe that the police stood there while you did that. All right, on your lawsuit against him, I am not going to order him to pay your lost wages. However, I do think that it's a form of harassment for him to continuously show up at your work, and as he admits, tell them bad things about you.
Not just my job, my friends, not just my work. Everywhere I go, he's popping up there. I can't
and therefore, on that, I am going to order him to pay you $500, and therefore it's a wash. Goodbye, folks.
So with the countersuit 5 and the 5 for the plaintiff, it comes out as a wash. And so come on in here. No money exchanges hands, but now it's just the 2 of you.
Yes, it is. Like I say, sorry they had to go this far, but hey, it went this far. What can I say? She loves attention, and that's what she keeps seeking for.
And you love...
Oh, don't get me wrong. I still got love for her. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to deny that, but she loves attention and following the wrong people.
Yeah. Okay, well, follow Officer McIntosh around the corner there. And let's see what the defendant has to say. There he goes. What does your heart flutter when you see him?
Not anymore.
No?
No.
When did that stop?
Recently, when he called my job and got me fired.
So are you done with him?
Completely.
Really? Harvey?
Okay, seriously, Kurt, if you fight like this, not you particularly, but litigants like this, if they fight like this, you got to end the relationship. It's an omen, and it ain't going to get better. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
These are the plaintiffs, Jennifer and Scott. They say they rented the first floor of a house from the defendant, and she owes them for temporary housing after Hurricane Sandy hit. They're also suing the insane woman for their belongings because she wouldn't allow them to retrieve their things once the water subsided. The woman owes them, plain and simple, and that's why they're here suing her for the $5,000 they're due. This This is the defendant, Danielle LaCourse. She says Sandy hit the plaintiffs with a vengeance. A wave crashed through the house and took all their belongings with it back out to sea. The house was condemned. The plaintiffs didn't have renter's insurance. She paid for their hotel, and now they're acting in a vindictive way. She's accused of not having a heart.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What's in your hand?
Oh, my Bible. I always come to court.
Let me just ask you, you always go to court with your Bible. How can you go?
If I go. Well, I'm trying to tell the truth.
Okay, all right.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiffs rented a place from the defendant and says that they were victims of Hurricane Sandy, and as a result, they couldn't get their belongings back, and that's why they're suing. And the defendant says the plaintiffs' belongings were lost because a wave crashed into their house. It's the case of wave your stuff.
Thank you, Douglas. Jennifer and Scott, you've asked us not to mention your last name, so we'll respect that. You're suing Danielle LaCourse, your former landlord, for $5,000 in damages that you say far exceed that, associated with Hurricane Sandy. Tell me what happened.
We rented from the defendant since October of 2010, and in October of 2012, we went through Hurricane Sandy.
Tell me about the house. This is located where?
Okay, this is directly on the beach. We were
on the beach.
Right. It was beautiful. It was right on the beach. We took very good care of the apartment, painted it. My husband boarded up. He actually framed.
What kind of apartment is it? Is it an apartment building? Or
it's a 3-family house, and we were on the first floor.
And you were on the first floor.
Right. So our apartment sustained all of the damage,
right.
Or the majority of the damage. My husband, despite the fact that my husband framed and Scott, he framed and put thick plywood around the house.
Sometimes it's not enough for the fury of the storm. But.
And this was like the worst storm in Connecticut, that we've ever seen.
Right.
So we evacuated on the 31st.
What day was Hurricane Sandy? October 29th?
The 29th. It was like a 2-day storm.
Right.
We couldn't go back for a couple of days.
Okay.
And
then at this point, you were paying your rent monthly?
Oh, yes.
And so you paid October.
Right.
Had you paid November?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
it was. Right. It was before the first. So what happened was, on the 31st, we both went back with our dog. We evacuated with our dog, and it was catastrophic. It was the concrete wall was in our front rooms and in our bathroom. Did you
have renter's insurance?
We had renter's insurance. Unfortunately, we didn't have flood insurance. We were not, but we're not suing for that. We understand that we had to accept that loss, and we have since purchased all new things. But the things that were there that we put up high, they were salvageable. And Ms. LaCourse promised us that she would have someone there that to board up the house, because the whole front of the apartment was gone, so that nobody could go in and do anything. That never happened. On the 31st,
can you guys keep it down? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. On the 31st, the city health department came to assess all of the damage on the shore, and they did condemn the house, and the police put tape around it.
Which means you can't get your stuff out?
Correct.
Okay, go on.
Okay, and when the health inspector talked to us, all 3 families were present, and he gave us his card. He said that the landlord was responsible for our housing. Because for our housing, emergency housing, because the house was condemned.
Okay, and I'm trying to understand the and let me ask you this: you had not collected November rent,
correct?
Did you have a lease with them?
Yes, month to month. I have it right here.
A month to month lease.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a security deposit with them?
Yes, and I returned it with interest.
You returned the security deposit?
Yes.
All right. Who is the person next to you who keeps interrupting, raising her hand, talking? Who is that?
Judy Durasmo.
Who is she, though?
I'm the tenant.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking her. Who is she to you?
Judy Durasmo. She was my former tenant.
Oh, she's another one of your tenants. Okay. I'll let you know when it's your turn. Okay.
That was at the premises when everything took place.
Okay. So, did you have insurance?
I do, but the problem is the wind claim is different from the flood claim because the wind affected the second and third.
Okay, so let's go through it one by one. You're suing her for $6,355 for your personal property because what?
Because there were things that were salvageable.
Well,
and
and why did you just go in there and get them?
Because she would never let us retrieve our property.
The place was condemned according to your testimony. It is not her who's not letting you on there. It is the city that is not letting you on there.
Right, and we asked her, I repeatedly asked her, she was allowing people to live, she was allowing the Durasmo family to live on the second floor. And I have proof of that because...
What was condemned, the first floor or all of it?
The entire home.
Were you living on the second floor?
Me, my husband, my daughter, and my grandchildren, and her husband were homeless too. We all went to human services. We were not allowed in there to even get our stuff. It was devastating that time of the hurricane. It was like a war zone over there. She tried to do the best she could. She really did. I mean, I was on the street too with my grandchildren. I didn't go after my landlord for this. They put a lien on her house for all of us to be in the Howard Johnson's motor inn. And she's paying for it.
Over $30,000 lien on my house. Yes.
What's in your hand?
Oh my.
You always go to court with you, but how can you go?
If I go. I'm trying to tell the truth.
Okay, all right. Can I, tell me what bad act, what negligence on the part of your landlord happened that she's responsible? Where is your property, by the way? What ended up happening?
I have no clue.
Where is that property today, a year and a half later?
April 1st, I had to hire a company to come out and air out the bottom because no one would come and get their stuff because I did contact the Milford Police Department, Officer Young, and he did call Jennifer and tell her that she needed to get her stuff because by April 1st, we had to clean it out. It started to stink.
When did the condemnation end?
Well, that's why I contacted Officer Young because everything was, the health department had it condemned.
What's the answer to my question? Does anybody know? How do you get my stuff if I'm not allowed to go in there?
She was allowed by Officer Young.
Okay, so the way it works, do you have pictures of the damage?
Yes.
Can I see it?
Yes.
So the way it works is that with the consent and what, they stay there while you're doing it?
No.
He said, no, I gave her permission at any time because she does work
I see the emails because I do, in fact, you're the one who gave me the emails from her in January saying, come and get your stuff. Get your stuff. And why didn't you get them in January?
We have a police report. We made arrangements with
in January?
In December.
In December.
December 15th, we made arrangements. We had plans to meet her at the house at 8 a.m. We called for a police escort because the Durasmo family was living on the second floor still. They kept going in there. They were putting up Christmas
decorations. Why would you need a police escort?
Because
they're living there. You don't get along with them?
We did. In fact, they stayed when they were during the week that we were paying for our own hotel. They stayed in our room for 2 nights.
Okay, so why would you need a police escort? That didn't make sense to me.
I can explain. On November 19th, I was there with our insurance adjuster.
Right.
And the police were called on me by Danielle.
Oh, okay. So you were now not
saying I was damaging property.
Okay.
On the 15th, she agreed to meet us at 8 a.m. We rented a van.
The 15th of December.
Yes, okay. We rented a van. At 8:30, I called her because she wasn't there. She stated she had a birthday party or something.
Do you have receipts for rental van and fuel?
Yes.
Let me see those. What happened on the 15th of December?
I do remember talking to Jennifer for 2 hours on a cell phone because the first 2 times Dominic and I went to meet Jennifer, she did not show up. I live an hour and a half away from the property.
I was the property manager.
Come on up, please sit down.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was the property manager. I was helping Danielle through the course of the...
Were there prior appointments that the plaintiff
There were 2 prior appointments to which we were asked to meet Jennifer, and she did not show up. So we were there twice.
Did you actually speak with Jennifer?
I didn't speak with her. Danielle had direct contact with Jennifer.
So Danielle would tell you, please go meet Jennifer. She's going to the property, and then she didn't show up.
Right. No one would show up.
Okay.
And she told me she was intimidated because she thought Judy was staying there. So she did not want to go there. And that's why I decided to call Officer Young at the Milford Police Department because she wouldn't go. I can't make her get her things. But I wasn't about to drive an hour and a half every time she said she would be there because I did that
except
twice.
for that she rented a van that day at 6:28 a.m.
I didn't know she rented. She never told me.
Right, but so that's a day she's really going to make it. So
she had. I wasn't stopping her. I was on the phone with her for 2 hours. I said, go in. She didn't want to because Judy. She thought Judy was.
Why couldn't you go in that day? Yeah.
If we had gone in, they theoretically could have called the police on us and we would have got arrested.
I don't care about theory. Why couldn't you physically go in on the day that you had a van?
We saw them.
I have a police report.
We saw them there. We have a police report proving
when
that
they
they were
came.
there.
So who was there?
The Durasmo family. And
I don't care about them. Why are they stopping you from just doing what you got to do and getting your
Because
stuff?
if we had gone in,
Okay, then again, you can't go in because the police won't let you.
but she was giving us permission when she's supposed
Then
to know that.
how is it her fault? If the
But she's
police
supposed
are
to know that as
depriving
the
you of the
landlord.
opportunity to walk in there, then how is it her fault?
She needs to know that as the landlord. She's dealing with them. She's dealing with the health department. She's
Okay,
dealing-
but if the police are telling you can't go in because you've called the police down there, by the way, right? Because you could have just gone in. You just didn't want to because the Durasmo family was there. Let me see that police report.
If the cops stop them, the plaintiffs aren't robbers. Will they get $5,000? Judge Millian rules next.
As I was dancing, ripped a nail off of my big toe completely.
3 days after this happened, she is in Mardi Gras, so I don't see what there's pain and suffering.
Next, People's Court.
So is it the defendant's fault that they couldn't get their belongings if the police wouldn't let them in?
No, I think it's a matter of security at that point in time. I mean, the police are trying to secure all the properties. So once everything's secure, they can go back in and get their belongings.
But it's not the landlord's fault if the police say you can't go in.
No, I don't think it's the landlord's fault. I think it's up to the police to determine who can go in because it's a matter of security. It's up to.
Fair enough. What do you think? Quickly.
I think
I don't care what you think. You guys twins. You guys twins.
No, we're friends.
How do you end up looking exactly alike if you're not What is this about? I gotta know.
I don't know.
Boy band?
We're not in a boy band. Just best friends.
We'll crack this mystery going inside the courtroom.
You had talked to her and told her, I'm going to secure the home.
Yes.
And did she tell you that she would reimburse you for?
Yes, she told us to take it off in November.
And do you have a receipt for $300 for the plywood?
They were in the house.
Why don't you have to pay that? Put your hand down, Mr. Rasmussen. Why don't you have to pay that?
I was not aware that they bought $300 worth of plywood, and this is my receipt from Home Depot from what I purchased for them.
Let me see. I don't understand. If she's got... I'm going to have to take you out if you don't stop. I need quiet while I'm working here, please. All right. Quantity, 25 50-pound sandbags, a drop cloth, curbside delivery for the sandbags. How's that plywood? Where's the plywood?
I know I ordered plywood.
Okay, sweetheart, you can't just say something and then hand me something else and say it proves it. Well, you think I'm that, that I'm that careless?
I must have
Please give me a receipt for all that plywood you say they didn't have to buy because you bought it.
I don't have it.
Do you have a receipt for the plywood you bought?
It was in the house.
Do you have an email, a text where she says, yes, I'll pay for the lumber?
We have some text messages.
Did they talk about that lumber?
There's so many.
I don't know. There were so many text messages.
Okay, you know what? Just give it to me and I'll scroll through them. And there's repeated texts from her telling you to get your stuff. I'm going to order you to pay the $300 for the plywood. I don't think that the stuff number one, I don't see any proof that you had plywood there, and I don't doubt that it was probably about $300 in plywood. I see a text from her to you saying we had to buy thicker wood to try to protect it better. You want your tenants to do that. But as for the rest of your lawsuit, I think that you truly have the feeling that your landlord is somehow responsible for all these losses, and they're not. I've been through. No, we're not. We're done. And certainly not $2,500 in punitive damages.
Your Honor,
we're done. We're done. I know that you feel that there's this big Hatfield-McCoy situation going on.
No.
I see it in the flavor of the text going back and forth. I'm just not sure that you are reasonable.
I asked.
But I don't need to decide if you're reasonable. I need to decide if your lawsuit is righteous. And I find that there's nothing that's due and owing from your landlord to you. The city made her pay rent for 3 weeks for you. You have a month to month. She is repeatedly on record in emails and texts telling you go get your stuff. You don't go get it because of the problem you're having with them and the police and all these other hurdles that you keep creating for yourself.
She didn't.
And
tell
she
anybody
returned your
else that they were
security
harassing them,
deposit.
and I
And you didn't
couldn't
pay the
contact
November
her.
rent. but you want her to pay the $420. I'm just, there's just nothing further due and owing from that side to that side, thanks to Hurricane Sandy.
We couldn't contact her, but from January to April, we couldn't contact her because she said.
So my verdict is, this is just not true. From January to April, I see 1,000 texts and emails from you that you provided to me. I don't know where you're going with all this. You know, I know you're angry, but somebody else doesn't always have to pay because of bad things happen. Sometimes it's on you. Sometimes you have to absorb your little share of the bad thing.
You're on.
I'm ordering a payment for the plywood, $300. That's it.
Well, after all that, you got your plywood. Come on in here. What's your take?
It was unfair because she never made provisions for us to get our things, and once she started saying that we were harassing her, she wouldn't pick up her certified letter that we were requesting her things, and never gave us notice that we could go get our things.
All right, head around the corner there, and your documents are waiting for you there. Let's see what the landlord has to say. Come on in. All right. What do you think of the verdict?
I think this is like romper room, and it's pretty sad.
What were they like as tenants?
Bullies.
Yeah.
What?
Bullies.
Bullies. All right. Harvey?
So really, this is a case where the landlord was never at fault, but the landlord and the tenants never got along, and they got blinded. The plaintiffs got blinded by this hatred or dislike, and as a result, they never saw clearly that it wasn't the landlord's fault. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
These are the plaintiffs, Jessica and Joseph Fauci. Jessica says she was in the parking lot of her local supermarket, and the careless defendant backed out of a spot without looking and crashed into her door. She honked and honked to get the lady's attention, but the woman still hit her. Now she's out $600 for her insurance deductible and attorney's fees, and they're suing because the defendant won't pay up. This is the defendant, Judith. She says she was backing out of her spot, looked both ways, and then zoom. The plaintiffs came out of nowhere, and their cars hit. Neither car had any damage, so they didn't call the cops. Next thing she knows, the woman's suing her for her deductible. She thinks this whole thing's a scam, because it seems the plaintiff's just trying to make a quick buck. She's accused of not looking around.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
If she had seen...
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs say they were in a supermarket parking lot when the defendant backed into them. But the defendant says she was in the process of backing up when the plaintiff smacked her. It's the case of, I'm in the market for a lawsuit.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Jessica Fossey and Joseph Fossey, yes. You are suing Judith. You've asked us not to mention your last name, so we'll respect that. For $600 that you say you are out as a result of her negligence when she crashed into you in a parking lot.
That's correct.
Come on over to this diagram and show me, if you will, pick one car to be you and the other car to be her. And was the fellow next to you, is this your husband?
That's my husband, yes.
Okay, and was he with you in the car? No?
No.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
I was parked here, and the defendant was right around here. I backed out of the spot this way, put myself into drive, started to drive this way, ended up stopping right about here because there was a lineup of cars here. She started to back out. I honked, and then she hit the door like that.
Straight T-boning like that?
Correct. All right. She pulled back into her spot, and then I pulled into an empty spot there to get out of the traffic.
Okay, did you call the police?
I didn't.
All right,
I didn't.
Because according to you, she was very apologetic on the scene, right?
Yes.
Okay, watch this. Is the accident your fault?
No.
Okay, that's why you want a police report, because things change in 2 years. By the way, why is it 2 years later that you're in court?
Because after I, can I go back to my?
Yeah, go ahead.
After I pulled back in, she actually wrote down all of her insurance information for me.
How'd that work out for you?
It didn't.
Why not?
So I called my insurance company, gave them all the information, and they contacted Travelers, the insurance that the defendant gave me.
Wait. And she's not insured?
Correct.
Well, she had been insured, but the insurance had lapsed. And,
A year.
A year earlier.
Well, I have the information from the.
Okay, Judith, what's going on?
Okay, this is like 2 years ago. I hardly even remember it because it's been so long.
I don't know. I have a car accident and I remember it. It kind of sticks in my head. How many car accidents do you have?
I've had 2.
Okay, so I would think that it would stand out.
Well,
I mean, you can remember more than one thing in your entire life, right?
No, I know. It's just
what happened in this case, ma'am?
She probably doesn't remember where she was when Kennedy, well, you know. Will the plaintiffs get $600? Judge Millian rules next.
If you would like free tickets to be part of our courtroom audience, call toll-free 1-888-780-8587.
So can you think of a scenario where somebody backing out and then hitting a car in the lane would not be at fault?
Absolutely. If they are blacking out slowly and looking in their rearview mirror and someone whips wildly around the corner driving like a madman, then, it's...
Do you hear what she said? That if somebody goes too fast, do you believe that's true? That when you're backing out, you could actually be the victim?
I don't believe that, actually. I think they, any car that's coming down, they automatically have the right of way, and you don't.
Well, you buying that?
No, I think that I agree with her. Absolutely. And also, if the car's going the wrong way.
Well, I agree with the boy band. Going inside the courtroom.
I was at the supermarket and I was getting in my car and I was in the space and I was backing out and I looked both ways before I backed out and I didn't see anybody coming and I proceeded to back out and then this car came out of nowhere. I did not hear.
It didn't come out of nowhere.
It came
out of where it was a second ago, because it doesn't have superpowers.
No, what I'm saying is I didn't see it.
Yeah, I know. You hit her like a T?
Yes.
If you hit her like a T, why are you denying that it's your fault?
Because I waited to see if there was anybody coming, and there wasn't.
Who has a right of way? You coming out or the person who's already on the road?
The person on the road.
So then how is it not your fault?
Like I said, I looked both ways, and then how
is it her fault?
If she had seen me backing out, why didn't she stop?
Oh, you couldn't even hold on that one.
I apologize.
What's wrong with you? Didn't you see that she was violating your right of way? Are you kidding me? And then wait a minute. I never heard from the plaintiff. But by the way, why did it take 2 years?
My insurance said we've done everything we can. She's not paying. It's really up to you now.
Right. And then?
And then we did wait a little bit. My husband had some health issues, my kids.
So when did you file this case?
I want to say it was in...
More or less.
September.
You're within the statute of limitations. I'm just curious.
That's September.
Yes. All right. And you're suing for $500 for the deductible. And what's the $100 for?
And then there's the attorney fee.
For what?
For filing, because I had no... for filing the claim.
Do you mean the filing fee?
No, we have a very good friend that's an attorney.
Oh, so he didn't charge you. You're talking about the filing fee.
No, he charges. He's charging us $100 for his services to file. Then the filing fee is also $100.
Okay. All right. You're not entitled to the attorney's fees. You are entitled to your deductible. You are entitled to court costs. That is my judgment. I find that the accident was in fact Judith's fault. I don't see how anybody could conclude anything otherwise. And that is my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see what the defendant has to say about this going out of the courtroom. How'd the defense go in there for you?
Well, not too good.
No. What was your defense again? That she should have stopped? You were wrong?
I really didn't see her, okay? I looked both ways and I didn't see her.
All right, head right down that way. Follow that gentleman. All right, so step on in here, and you satisfied how this comes out?
I am very happy.
What do you think of her defense? That you should have stopped?
I was stopped. It was ridiculous. There was absolutely no defense, and she backed right into me.
Harvey?
Well, it's really simple. When you back up, you do not have the right of way ever, period. You have to make sure you're going at a speed where you don't cause an accident.
Visit nysmokefree.com.
Came to the door, and the shoes he was wearing were literally chewed up. And I asked him, I said, "What happened to your shoes?" And he said his dog chewed them.
Tonight at 6 on My 9.
At all costs. To pay him back within 2 weeks of the loan, but his husband disappeared off the face.
What do you mean?
Well, basically, he asked me to borrow the camera because he has a girlfriend that he wanted to record sexually in the camera. So since it's so little, he could hide it anywhere.
This is the plaintiff, Richard Rivera. He says he's been friends with the defendant since he was 4 years old, and the guy's like a brother to him. It's very hard for him to be suing him here today, but the guy crashed his motorcycle and won't pay for it to be repaired. The defendant needs to grow up, take responsibility for his actions, and also needs to pony up the $4,000 he's owed. This is the defendant, Alex Ayala. He says he admits the plaintiff's bike tipped over, but his one-time buddy is suing him for $4,000. The guy's turned a little scratch into an excuse to sue him for an entirely new bike. What kind of friend does that? A friend no more, that's who. He's accused of busting up a bike. The defendant is filed a countersuit for $579.97 for missing property.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
You see it? Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn in.
Thank you, Douglas. Richard Rivera, you are suing your former good friend, I guess, Alex Ayala, for $4,000. You say your damages actually exceed that and are almost $7,000, but you want to cut him a break. Because according to you, he crashed your motorcycle. You have a counterclaim against him for a motorcycle camera that he's holding hostage. All right, what's going on?
Your Honor, I want to start by saying how the case ended up starting was that the defendant, Alex, came to me and asked if he could ride the bike. We spent some time together.
When you say bike, you're talking about a motorcycle.
Motorcycle, yeah.
Right, okay.
He hasn't rode a bike in a while, so he asked me if he could ride it to his house. I asked him, do you take responsibility? He's like, yeah, sure.
That's
no
that actually happened. You said, do you take responsibility?
I always tell everybody,
I kind of don't imagine.
Like, as long,
okay, he has responsibility. It doesn't matter whether he says it or not, but I never find that really people don't talk that way.
Well, yeah,
bro, go ahead. All right.
Believe it or not, I've actually loaned him plenty of stuff before. He done the same for me, and we always help each other out. So
you guys go way back, right?
Yeah, we go back.
How way back?
18 years.
Okay. So go on.
And after I told him that he could take the bike, sure, I took a ride with his friends and family.
In a car?
In his car.
Okay.
By the time we got to his house.
Which was how far away?
Approximately about like 15 minutes.
Okay.
When I got to his house, we all went inside. I saw the bike parked, but I didn't see it from the other side of the angle. I saw it from the left side of the bike. We went inside. We stood there for a while. I decided to leave early. I was tired. I got on my bike. When I went to park it in the lot, I noticed it was damaged on the right side of the bike.
What damage?
It was the fairing, the handle, the levers, the exhaust, the tank. I quickly called him up. He didn't answer. I continued calling him. He wasn't answering. I messaged him on Facebook. He answered me, I guess, like 2 days after. This happened in July, mid-July. But after he
he answered you 2 days later saying what?
That he did fall off the bike, and he admitted to me. He told me.
Wait, why didn't he tell you at the house?
He said, and he also actually wrote it, that he guessed he was too nervous. He thought I was going to actually.
According to you, you talked to him at the house?
Yes. Yeah, I noticed when I spoke to him in the house, I noticed he was bruised up, but I didn't think it was from the bike.
Well, no, he has your bike and he's all bruised up, and you don't think that it's from. And wait, rocket scientist, look at me. Was he bruised up at the beach?
No.
And then was he bruised up at the house?
I guess he probably fell
and then
like in
the
the
only
house or
thing, but
something.
so you just figured he was walking and he doesn't walk much, so he
well,
tripped.
he was drinking at the house, so I figured he must have tripped or
Let
something.
me see the Facebook post or whatever you said
Bless you.
Bless you.
That means it's going to be a long winter.
Yeah. Like a groundhog. Listen, I didn't crash a bike. You remember what happened to me with the scooter? I drop it because the sand well, I was waiting for Macanico. When I seen him, I started to go, but I could reach the floor. I think he meant couldn't reach the floor. So I I think he means leaned it to the side, didn't go no faster than 2 miles per hour. I was going OD slow. Don't worry, I got
really
you.
Slow.
What?
That OD means really slow, like exaggerating slow.
And I tried telling you, but remember when I called you to the bathroom, but it looked like you was in a rush to leave. That when I told you the keys is in the keychain thing. How's that you telling him, hey, man, I'm really sorry? I mean, how do you figure that that's what you just testified to under oath in front of me?
Basically, everything is true what he said.
Can you answer my question?
Okay.
I know it's uncomfortable, but that's my question.
Okay.
What's your answer?
I don't have no...
Right. I mean, who am I going to believe? You were my lying eyes? I mean, he told you, he said before you said, oh yeah, I told him, you heard him say that he had your Facebook, but you wrote this.
Mm-hmm.
But how old are you?
32.
Okay, so you understand that when you write stuff, it doesn't go away, right? Like somebody's taught you that, right? Like you know that, so why would you lie to me and tell me you told him? It's clear you didn't tell him. So in any event, you then, do you ever go get an estimate for the damages?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
But why you give me such a bloated estimate? You know, he says, oh, that's your friend at the shop. And I got to tell you, it looks like it's on steroids because your bike isn't worth the amount that you claim is in damages for just the car. Because it's not even a bike crash. It's not a motorcycle crash. It's he leans it over because he's too little for the bike. Yeah. Right, then don't take it, you know, but, and don't give it to him, you know, but, so how could it possibly be $7,000 worth of damage?
A car is worth more than a motorcycle, but when it comes to parts, a motorcycle.
No, I'm talking about the book value of your motorcycle.
The value when it comes down to it, it's I have here the actual written.
Is the guy at the motorcycle shop a friend of yours?
No, this is actually a dealership.
What makes you think that's a friend of his?
Why he said that's
Do you hear do you hear me when I talk?
Yes.
Okay. You're not just waiting for me to stop talking for you to talk, right? Why do you say in your answer to the complaint that the guy who gave him the estimate is a friend of his? Do you know that for a fact, or are you guessing it?
No, I know that for a fact.
How do you know that for a fact?
Because he done it for me.
Who did what for you?
He makes falsified paperwork.
Who does?
A person that he knows.
This same person?
I don't know if it's the same person. I don't know.
Explain yourself.
Basically, he tells somebody, oh, make me a fake receipt. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Who did it for you?
The same person who did it for him.
How do you know it's the same person?
I'm not sure if it was him or not.
Then why do you say it's the same person?
I'm just assuming.
When did you have a need for a falsified receipt?
No comment on that.
No, you have to have a comment. You have to have a comment. I'm asking you, and you're under oath. You have to answer.
I don't remember what I used it for.
Yeah, you do. What was it you needed it for?
I don't remember.
Did you make an insurance claim?
No.
Then what was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you do. This is affecting your credibility in my courtroom.
Oh.
So why don't you just tell me? Because you already said that you falsified.
To be honest, I don't remember.
No, that's not being honest. You know that's not honest. You know you're a big fat liar right now.
He's in bad hands. The testimony continues.
Who did what for you?
He makes falsified paperwork.
Who does?
A person that he knows.
This same person?
I don't know if it's the same person. I don't know.
These litigants knew each other most of their lives, but the relationship went kaput when the defendant allegedly crashed the plaintiff's motorcycle. Let's listen.
What was it you needed a falsified receipt for?
I don't remember, to be honest.
What did he need a falsified receipt for?
I don't recall any of that ever happening, to be honest.
No, why don't both of you be honest?
No, I'm being...
How's that? Why don't you try that on for size?
I don't know. I know someone who works with Photoshop. Maybe that's what he's trying to tell me or tell you. But honestly...
That what, the Photoshop exists? I don't think that's what he's trying to tell me.
No. I'm saying when it comes to like
Was there ever a discussion between the two of you on any text or Facebook page about how much the damages would cost before today?
I have a evidence that he sent me part numbers to order for him.
Right.
So I can buy it.
Right.
I got it right here.
And how much is that total to?
Less than $1,000.
Okay. And what was your response to that?
I needed the camera. Because he has a camera of mine.
What camera of yours does he have?
A GoPro Hero 3.
What is that?
That's for the motorcycle. You put in your helmet and you record when you're riding.
Okay. Do you have it here?
Yes, I do.
Is there any other part to it besides that?
No, that's it. The one piece that I don't have for the camera is the memory card, which I take responsibility for that.
The what?
The memory card, the SIM card, I think, the memory card. The SD card, I'm sorry.
Why don't you have the SD card?
Because I used it to take out the pictures for my laptop, but I don't remember.
According to you, he used it for something else, didn't he?
Yes.
What did he use it for?
For pornographic use.
What do you mean?
Well, basically, he asked me to borrow the camera because he has a girlfriend that he wanted to record sexually in the camera. So since it's so little, he could hide it anywhere. So
and that was okay with you?
I didn't know what he was gonna do with the camera.
No, you did. No, let me explain something to you.
I didn't know what he was gonna do with the camera until I seen it.
He said what he was gonna do with the camera. He said he was going to unknowingly tape a girl having sex with him. Do you have a sister?
Yes.
Do you have a daughter?
Yes.
I don't think it's funny.
I'm not laughing.
Well, you were. You thought it was funny. She thought. Who are they?
My witnesses.
They think it's funny. Everybody thinks it's funny. I don't think it's funny. I think it's a felony. And I don't think it's funny. And you were just as complicit in it as he was, if that's what you loaned it to him for. Here is the camera that the two of you used to tape unsuspecting women, which what I'd like to do is this.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay, just give it to him. Who was he? Was it his girlfriend? Did he send it to you?
We made an agreement. It's $500 for 30 minutes.
This singer didn't get paid.
Then you agree to perform for him again. Would you answer me? Did you agree to perform for him again?
Next, People's Court.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So the question, you've known him since 4. He wrecks your motorcycle and won't pay. Would you sue him?
No.
Why?
Human relationships are too important.
He's not important enough to him. He stiffed you.
Yeah, but
You're thinking about it. What do you think?
I don't know. It's tough.
He's disrespecting you by not paying, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would try every other option before I sued him.
Would you sue him? Oh, she's saying yes. Okay, what do you think?
No, I wouldn't.
Really?
Family is more important.
It's not family, it's just a friend.
Oh, almost like family.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got sucker written on you going inside the courtroom.
Show me the text where he gives you a list of parts.
None.
I also have
Do you have pictures of the damage?
Yes, I do.
May I see them? Again, I ask you, how can there be $7,000 worth of damage by a bike leaning on its side?
Also, that's what he tells me, that he laid it down. On top of that, from the pictures you can see, there's scrape lines. There's only one possible way you could get those scrape lines, by doing minimum 25 to 30 miles an hour.
Well, when did you become an expert in this?
I've fallen from bikes before, and I know what's the difference between leaning a bike and actually falling while in moving. The reason also the damage that's came up so high up is also because it has high performance street parts, as in it don't have the stock parts. I have also another bike that was actually posted on Craigslist. This is a complete stock bike, same as mine's. The only difference is that I have the high performance parts, this one doesn't, and the guy's asking $9 grand for it. So, you know, bikes are expensive. Like,
yeah, bikes are expensive. That's why you shouldn't loan them to somebody who's too small to ride your big bike.
He never let me down before, Your Honor. He always been responsible for everything. I've always looked out for him.
One of the reasons that you say I'm not, why do you feel like it's wrong of him to want you to pay? Because you've paid $0. Why do you feel like it's wrong for him
Because prior to that, like 3 weeks before he crashed the bike, he had crashed that bike. So for me, I'm thinking he's kind of suing for what I did to the bike and what he did to the bike.
Did you crash a bike 3 weeks before that?
Your Honor, I fell from the bike on the left side, but it clearly states on the estimate it's all right side parts.
I think your estimate is still inflated. And you know what happens when you do that to me? You leave me to my own resources to figure out what I think is fair. And you may not like that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I'm pretty sure I won't.
No, you're right. So instead of being greedy pig, maybe what you should do is have a few estimates, not just one that says that your repairs are more than your bike is worth, but actually, you know, like a legitimate estimate.
My bike is worth way more than that. I even paid more than that. Plus, for the parts that I ended up buying out of my own pocket to put it on that he damaged.
Okay. Here is the camera that the two of you used to tape unsuspecting women, which what I'd like to do is this.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay, just give it to him. Who was he? Was it his girlfriend? Did he send it to you? I can't hear you.
No. He brought it to the house with the SIM card and he put it in the computer.
Stop talking. And what?
He brought the camera.
So that you could see it? Yeah. And was that his girlfriend or another girl?
So you can see it.
Not his girlfriend. There's a regular girl he dated.
Wait, oh, right, but he wasn't cheating on him. Like, it wasn't like he's...
No.
Right, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
At least I'm not 32 and living with my mother.
Okay, you know what? You guys can do that on your own time, which apparently you have a lot of, but not on my time. All right? I'm going to find in favor of the plaintiff in this case, not in the amount that he's suing for, but in the amount that I deem to be a little what, Douglas?
We're going to do a little rough justice, Your Honor.
That's right. On the counterclaim 0, because you now have your piece back, except for, actually, on the counterclaim $100 because of the SIM card. And on his claim against you, I am going to find in his favor in the amount of $1,750. Minus the $100 is $1,650. Verdict for the plaintiff. That's my judgment.
All right, so come on out here and tell me what's the state of affairs now after this verdict?
Oh, I guess we could still remain friends after this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You guys are going to go out tonight?
No, not at all.
No?
No.
Well, you've been friends for how long?
Like 20 years.
Mm-hmm. So how did it wind up like this? How did two friends wind up in court?
Him being greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you know what the judge said. He's being greedy. $7,000. That's a new bike.
Yeah. Okay. All right, you just head right down this way. Let's see what the plaintiff has to say about this. All right, you sued for a lot more than you got, and you come out with something.
I mean, I'm gonna try to do my best to cover up the damages with what I got, but honestly, I hope to salvage some type of relationship because I still love him as a brother.
Yeah, you guys have been together since you were little kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so this is just a little bump in the road for the two of you?
I hope we could get along, get past this, and move on.
Of course. He wants to borrow your bike next time. You say what?
That's not going to happen.
Really?
Definitely not.
Okay. Harvey?
Well, look, the plaintiff won this case, but I got to tell you, he was on the ropes because once you start phoning evidence, your credibility generally gets impaired. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Noreen Rusido. She says she had her property staked by a land surveyor because she was installing a fence, and her neighbor took it upon himself to remove the stakes. She needs to know exactly where the boundary lines are before she puts up her fence, has had it with her crazy neighbor, and is suing him for $854, the cost of a new surveyor. This is the defendant, Thomas Jessette. He says his neighbor's gone mad because she put up a fence, and once it was up, he removed the wooden stakes, which were on his side of the fence. All of a sudden, he gets a letter saying he's being sued for removing the stakes, which were on his property. He immediately replaced the stakes in the same holes they were removed from, but that's not good enough for his kooky neighbor. So here they are. He's accused of staking his claim.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Where did you get the impression he pulled the neighbor's markers?
Because
the neighbor told you that?
I have pictures.
No, you have pictures of them pulled. How do you know he pulled them?
Because I have pictures of all of them sticking out of his wood pile.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says her neighbor, the defendant, screwed up her plan to put up a fence, but the defendant says she's crazy and she trespassed on his property to boot. It's the case of please fence me in.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Noreen Rusido, you are suing your neighbor Thomas Jessette for $854, the cost of legal fees plus a survey that you conducted on your property line because, according to you, he intentionally pulled out the markers dividing your property lines. Tell me what happened here.
I originally decided to have the property surveyed because my neighbor burns, and it fills.
He does what?
He burns like leaves and things.
Okay.
And it was filling my house with smoke. And I thought if I put a fence up, it would like elevate the smoke a little bit, plus push it back where he was burning from. So I had the property surveyed in August. I went over in August and told him if he could please get any of his property off my yard. I gave him 6 weeks to do it, that I would be putting up a fence.
Because he had property on your yard?
He did have some property.
How much property was on your yard?
Maybe a truckload.
A lot of property.
Well, he had some wood and things that had been cut down.
Okay. So did he get it out in the time you requested?
No, he didn't. We had the fence put up in October. The survey was done in August. I asked 6 weeks to have the property removed because we had to pick out the fence and order it. And so we ordered it and it was installed. And the day it was installed...
Who moved all the stuff then?
Mr. Jessette did come over after the fence was installed, stating that he had had surgery and he hadn't had a chance to remove his thing. I was just going to remove it, just have it thrown out at that point. The fence is up. He hadn't removed it. He hadn't contacted me. So he asked if he could remove it still, and I told him he could. Just please have it all off the property by the end of the day.
Okay.
Which he didn't. My husband had to go over and ask him to please finish moving things.
Okay.
After, that was like October. So after Thanksgiving, my son had been home with his girlfriend from Texas, and we went out. And when we went out, that was the first time I saw it, that I noticed the stakes were gone, because it's winter, I don't go out.
So what happened? You had stakes in the ground marking your property?
The survey stakes that the surveyor put up.
All right, and it cost you $800 to get the survey?
Yes, ma'am.
And he had pulled up the stakes?
Yes.
All right, what kind of stakes were they?
They're wooden stakes with an orange tip on the top of them.
Okay, what happened?
Most of that is true, except I didn't get a deadline as to when she was actually going to do it. She came over to me. I never had met her.
Sounds like from August to October. I mean, that's, you know.
Okay, so
maybe you should get around to it, you know.
The wood I moved it was just firewood. So I moved the firewood and stuff.
Did you pull out the stakes?
I did pull the stakes out.
All right. Come on over here and show me where on this diagram the stakes would have been.
After the fence was installed, the markers were like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, why did you pull the markers out?
Well, the fence was up. I have kids, my neighbors, everybody plays in the yard. That they were sticking up about 10 inches.
They're wooden.
I have pictures if you want.
Yeah, let me see the pictures.
Do you want me to go back? No, you want
yeah,
me to
I do.
Okay, I step back. Thank you.
Can I just also point something out? He not only pulled out the markers on his side of the property, he also pulled out the markers on my other neighbor's property. So where
did you pull out the markers on the other?
That's not true. I have pictures of everything.
What do you mean you have pictures of everything?
I took pictures of all the markers that I removed and then put back, and then I took pictures of all the markers that are still in place on either side of the abutters.
Okay, these are.
Where did you get the impression he pulled the neighbor's markers?
Because
the neighbor told you that?
I have pictures.
No, you have pictures of them pulled. How do you know he pulled them?
Because I have pictures of all of them sticking out of his wood pile. When he pulled them out, he put them in his wood pile.
Okay, let me see.
Okay, that's the floor. That's the backyard. That's his property.
Why are they all in your wood pile?
And that's my neighbor's
I just pulled them out of I pulled them out and I just laid them down.
But the ones from your neighbor too?
No, you can see I only took out 4 stakes, and the 4 stakes are right back where they were.
So if she has a picture of more than 4 stakes?
I would be really surprised at that.
Do you have a picture of more than 4 stakes? I just see the little bit of red.
Right, can I show you on the diagram?
No, can you show me in the picture
I
of more than 4 stakes?
Do you want me to come up there?
Yeah, but I'm just, I don't know that the picture's going to show it. What's a person on his side of the fence supposed to do with the danger that a stake of wood popping out of the ground presents when you have children who may be running around? I understand that's your property, but you also have an obligation, not to have, attractive nuisance or something dangerous that, especially because it's this side of the, you have a right to build a fence wherever the heck you want. If you wanted to build it in the halfway mark, you could. Mm-hmm. And this is still your property. And this marks your property. But this is a stake that's protruding out of the ground a good 2 feet. And the chances are that whatever kids are running in the yard are not going to quite understand the significance of that before they get their eye poked out. It just seems kind of wrong that this type of marker, not a marker, this type of marker. Because there are other markers. This is temporary when they shove the orange wood in there. There are other types of permanent markers that you can put in that are flat to the ground, so they don't pose a danger for anybody else.
Right, and again, as far as when this all happened, I was so flabbergasted. And I had told my other neighbor, again, we've gone from October, we're into December now. The weather has turned, there is snow on the ground. I had told my other neighbor that in the spring, I was going to have them cut down and either leave like a 2-inch high with still the orange top so we don't run over them with our lawnmowers, or something flat put in the ground. Mr. Jassett never gave me that opportunity to present him with that. He just.
What do you mean he didn't give you that opportunity?
He just pulled them out. He never came over and said to me, "Look, I think these pose a hazard."
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but my question is a little bit different. It's you're putting the onus on him to and that would have been wiser, of course, before you go around yanking people's steaks, to demand that they do something about the danger that it presents and give her a chance to do that the same way she gave you a chance to correct all the things you were doing wrong. But just yanking them all out. And why are you suing for $854 when I see a receipt from your survey people saying that it'll only cost $100 and something to...
It's $300 to have it resurveyed. Because originally, ma'am, you have to understand, I have been...
Because you hate him?
It's a high-stakes proposition. Will the plaintiff get $854? Million rules next.
We made an agreement, $500 for 30 minutes.
This singer didn't get paid.
Then you agree to perform for him again. Would you answer me? Did you agree to perform for him again?
Next, People's Court.
So why do next-door neighbors have so many feuds?
Because people are nosy by nature and get into each other's business.
Okay, I get nosy, but why do they get angry?
You're never that close with anybody you don't choose like you are with your neighbors.
And what is it? And it's just I get it. It's proximity going inside the courtroom.
What is the reason?
Because I was very upset.
Okay, so because you're upset, you get to sue for 3 times what you're entitled to?
Originally, I didn't, again, it was a heated thing. It cost me $800. I want my money. Where's the receipt? Show me the receipt that I'm referring to. Oh, it was an email, right? Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I emailed the surveyor and asked him to have this redone. How much would it be? I understand you can't make me better. You can only make me whole. So again,
apparently you watch People's Court.
I do, and common sense and my temper have come down from that original. I can't believe you.
When did you file the lawsuit?
December 4th, I believe.
Okay, so you emailed them after you had filed the lawsuit.
I did.
Yeah, that's right.
Temper,
that's right.
like I said.
Okay, got it. Tell me why that is unreasonable to ask you to pay $300 to have them reinstall markers, assuming that the markers are appropriate for long-term preservation.
What I think is that the ones that I had taken out, the day that I got the letter from the court saying that I had to go to court, I immediately walked outside. I was able to actually see the holes that the stakes were in because I just pulled them out. I have pictures of them.
Really?
Yeah, I have pictures of them. They're right there. You can look at them. And
show me the pictures.
Show
where
all the
you can tell with all these leaves and decay and everything else.
Well, there was orange spray paint still right on the ground.
By the way, what is this? Because this is not what's in the picture.
That was the one steel rod that was on the corner that I did not put back in that was sticking up out of the ground. There's a corner picture there of a lot line.
Are you saying corner?
Corner?
Yes.
Yes.
You're saying corner. Okay, I got it. I wasn't sure what you were saying. I'm sorry. All right. You have a right to be upset about the stakes, or maybe not upset, to want to have some remedy to these stakes coming out. But there's so many remedies I can think of short of you erasing the survey. You could have cut them down yourself. You could have asked her to cut them down and given her a chance to do so. You could have called the city. There's so many things you could have done. And what you just did was boom, 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 and then just remove them and erase the thing she paid almost $1,000 for. It's not like you don't know their survey markers. They're all marked with the word survey markers. Like, I don't think you have respect for the sanctity of the survey marker. And there's a law that says that, you can't just pull out somebody's survey markers. But I also believe that her rights end where your rights begin. And that had you done this the right way, you could have had those things removed. But had you done it the right way, she wouldn't be out the survey. I'm going to order you to pay the $300 that it's going to cost to get it right by the official people, not by you shoving it into where you think the hole was. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
All right, so the plaintiff has collected not everything she sued for. You're the defendant on this case, and you come out on the losing end.
Yeah, well, you know what? She was right. I probably should have went over and talked to her first, but I didn't. And
if you had it to do over, what would you? How would you proceed?
I would go over and talk to her and see if we could, cut them down like she said, or remark them. But that was the right thing to do.
All right. So how's the temperature there in the neighborhood there? Peace in the valley?
That's great.
Between the two of you?
I'm good. I have no problems.
Right. You see her outside. What do you say to her?
Hello.
And she says hello back to you?
Sure. Why not?
All right. Okay. Good. All right. That's the way we like it. Right down that way. All right, so no hard feelings on your side?
Not at all. Not at all. I just, wanted to be put right. If we ever sell the property, we need to know where the line is.
Right. Well, you didn't get everything you sued for.
Well, no, but again, cooler heads prevailed. I did, say how much would it really cost to have it done? So it was original versus how much it would cost, and I gave them that figure, so I'm good with it.
All right, so you know where your fence is now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Harvey?
I got to tell you, the more you live, the more you realize it's so stupid to get in these feuds. What you do is you be the bigger person, you go next door, you sit down and you say, look, we're both at fault here. Let's sit down, figure out how to get along. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Greg Travers. He says his lousy landlord, the defendant, refuses to return a security deposit due to the so-called cleaning fees he needed to get the apartment in shape after he moved out. The defendant thinks he can just skirt the law and do whatever he pleases and get away with it. But he's here to teach him a lesson and get the $595.50 he's owed. This is the defendant, Hugh Thresher. He says the apartment was certainly not clean to his satisfaction, and he has every legal right to withhold the guy's security. All his policies are clearly stated in the lease. He followed all the proper procedures, and he thinks the judge will agree. He's accused of keeping a tenant's money.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Do you remember the blizzard we had?
No, baby, I live in Miami, Florida. Y'all were probably complaining about.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says his landlord hijacked his security for no good reason, but the defendant says both the plaintiff and the apartment were unclean. It's the case of Mr. Unclean.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Greg Travers, you are suing Hugh Thresher for $595.50 in security deposit plus interest plus lawyer's fees because according to you, he's wrongfully keeping, your former landlord is wrongfully keeping some of your security deposit. Talk to me. What happened?
Well, on December 1st, 2010, I moved in, and on April 30th, 2013, I vacated the apartment, and I waited about until May 24th until Hugh sent part of my security deposit back.
Okay, and did you get that along with a letter?
I did.
Okay, do we have a copy of the letter?
I do.
All right. So what is the reason that you kept part of the security deposit? How much did you keep? $495.50?
Yes.
Why?
Essentially, the plaintiff signed a lease addendum in addition to the lease, which stipulated an agreed upon amount which would be go towards cleaning at the conclusion of the time that the tenant was there and when the tenant moved out.
Regardless of how clean the place is?
Yes.
Okay, what is this paragraph purporting to say? That it's $195 for carpet cleaning and $195 for cleaning?
Yes, it is.
If applicable.
Let's see. The tenant agrees to steam clean carpets if applicable upon departure and show receipt of payment confirming the carpet was cleaned. The tenant agrees to pay $195 for carpet cleaning if no receipt is provided to landlord. And you want me to interpret that to mean if applicable, meaning if it's dirty. And I presume you want me to interpret that to mean if applicable, meaning there's carpeting.
If there's carpeting, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one disagreement that the two of you have. And you also did a little legal research into this, and
yes,
according to you, there's something you want to show me that says that he can't even put this in a lease.
Yes, ma'am. I went to a attorney and basically showed him the lease, and I just asked, is this legal? Can he do this? And
What'd you think when you signed the thing? Just out of curiosity.
I didn't like
bother
it.
you until it actually applied?
I didn't like it, but I didn't really think I'd have trouble collecting my security deposit because in the past I never had problems.
Okay, but even if you had determined if applicable to mean if dirty, the second $195 in that clause basically says you're paying me $195 as an exit fee. Right. You know, it basically says that's what you're paying to clean the apartment. So that part, why didn't that part bother you when you signed it?
Well, it did. But I also found out from my attorney that there is a case law act that the attorney general said that you can't put a clause in a lease for a cleaning fee?
There is an opinion by the Attorney General back in 1980, which I'm going to look into now, that says that you can't deduct for cleaning if it was clean. Is there any question that it was clean? Like, in other words, are you actually saying that the place was dirty?
I'm not saying that it was dirty. I'm saying cleanliness is a personal taste.
Right, but I just want to know if this is up for grabs in this case as well. Are you saying?
I'm saying the apartment does need to be cleaned. It needs to be freshened up. It needs to have Febreze put in the carpets.
Okay, do you have any pictures of problems of how he left it?
No, I don't. I just go in and I send in a cleaning crew to go in and clean. And there's
How did you do your calculations?
Okay, I took $195 for the to clean the apartment, $195 for a cleaning steam carpet cleaning, and I think after 2.5 years of living in an apartment, I think it's reasonable to expect the carpet would have needed to be steam cleaned, and then I withheld a late fee for a payment that was made in February of 2013.
All right, and what is the late fee that you were charging?
It's a 10% late fee, $105.50.
And why were you late then?
Do you remember the blizzard we had?
No, baby, I live in Miami, Florida. Y'all were probably complaining about it to me on the telephone, but I was out there sunbathing and I couldn't really hear it over the. All right, yeah, I kind of do. But what happened?
In February, we got nailed with 3.5 feet of snow.
Right.
I sent an email to Hugh, just basically asking him, would it be okay to pay rent when I was able? There are roads like Main Street that even haven't been plowed.
Right, but that means he's not responsible for that.
No, I'm not saying that,
right.
But I had no way to pay rent. I had no way to get to the bank to pay rent.
You don't have a checkbook? Isn't that how you normally pay rent?
I write a check. I go to the bank, deposit in his account.
Okay. Could you just mail it?
No, I go to the bank and I deposit it.
I know that's what you do, but couldn't you just this time mail it?
It was just a couple of days before the blizzard.
Okay. So. What did he respond to that email? And what did he say?
He just basically said, be safe, do your best, let me know when payment is made. So I believe that
Let me see the response. Okay. Your response is, thanks, be safe, and do the best you can. Please confirm payment when you can make it. Mm-hmm. So then why, when the guy moves out 2 or 3 months later, are you for the first time bringing up a late fee?
I'm not bringing it up the first time. The rent was due on the 1st.
I don't want to hear your argument. I want to hear why you're bringing it up now. You say it's not the first time. Have you brought it up before then? Because the response I see kind of leads him to believe like you're not going to be a jerk about it. Well, and, because it's a snowstorm and it's, 2 days and, it's kind of, for you to bring it up for the first time, so correct me if I'm wrong when I say that, for you to insist on the late payment for the first time after the guy moves out 3 months later, seems kind of, did you bring it up in those 3 months?
No, he moved out 2 months later.
All right, court's in recess.
All rise.
Who will get a new lease on life? Will the plaintiff get around $600? Willie on Rules, next.
If you would like free tickets to be part of our courtroom audience, call toll-free 1-888-780-8587.
Okay, so if applicable, does that mean if it's dirty or if there's carpeting? Somebody told me you're a lawyer. I have no idea what you're going to say. What do you think?
I think it's when it's dirty, because if applicable means there are times when it's not applicable, so it's pursued.
Well, it's not applicable when there's no carpet.
Well, true, but you wouldn't have to steam a carpet.
2 lawyers are never going to solve anything in this amount of time going inside the courtroom.
Thanks, guys. Have a seat, please.
Okay. Here's how I see it. Number one, I understand you went out and found a lawyer, and your lawyer sent a letter attaching an attorney general opinion, which is not binding on me, talking about how you can't charge a cleaning fee. I don't even know why the attorney general will get involved in that. Be that as it may, it's 30 years old, okay? And I have found nothing in the case law to reflect such a thing. And I'm sure your lawyer told you that as well. There is not a single case that says that you cannot charge a cleaning fee. That being the case, and case law is what binds me, I'm looking at this fresh. And the question I have in my mind is, when 2 grown people enter into an agreement, should I enforce it? And my inclination is yes. The agreement that you entered into was that the carpets if applicable. And that doesn't mean the carpets if they're dirty. To me, that means the carpets if they're carpets. You will have to do that. So I find that the $390 is appropriate. I, however, do not find that the $105.50 is appropriate. Landlords have to be very careful, because if you have the right to enforce something and you don't, it might be considered waived. Now, every good lease has what's called an anti-waiver provision, and your lease has it, which says, don't assume because I don't charge you a late fee that I'm waiving it. I hereby reserve my right to charge you whatever, to enforce my rights, and my silence doesn't mean otherwise. So if there had just been silence, I wouldn't consider it waived. But I kind of feel that you were trying to be a nice guy about it and give them the other 48 hours, but I kind of feel that sending that email is an affirmative waiver, and I find that you cannot charge $105.50. So I am going to order you to pay to the plaintiff the amount of $105.50.
Thank you very much.
Hold on right there, please. Well, first out of the courtroom is the defendant right here. What's your first take on this ruling?
I believe I won. I mean, I won there are three components of it. I won 2 out of the 3, and I think the third component, is it's unfortunate I didn't win that piece as well.
You realize you just should have kept your mouth. It would have been better for you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's correct.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Right around this way. All right. So next out of here, the plaintiff. Let's find out if he's satisfied with what he got out of this. What are you?
Oh, well, for the most part, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly how I wanted it to go, but I don't know the law, so that's why we're...
Were you surprised to hear that the Attorney General got involved in some of these issues?
I was surprised that there is something that old on the books, yes.
Yeah. Ari, what do you think?
Well, Kurt, actually, here's what I know. The person who drafts the contract has an ambiguity interpreted against him. So in this case, it's interpreted against the landlord. It means that only if the carpet is dirty.